1961 to 65. Flag goes down. Bolting out of the middle of the front row, very, very good start. Looks like Sam Wilson's had a problem in the Lotus 24. Fennell was quickest off the blocks, but round the outside it's the white car of Miles Griffiths who leads. Martin Stretton is in second. Nick Fennell is in third place. And as they come out of Mandrake Corner, James King is fourth, Richard Atwood is fifth. Looks like Andrew Beaumont in the pale green car is sixth. Malcolm Cook popping out of the slipstream of a couple of cars. He's trying to make some ground. That bright blue Ford France Brabham Formula 2 car. And taking the lead, Martin Stretton down towards you, Bruce.
Yeah, great move down the inside into St Mary's now. Can Griffiths fight his way back? And certainly this quick starting Nick Fennell must have bogged down to fall back to third place. He's gaining on as they go through the dip, up the rise into Labour, but great move from Martin Stretton to relieve Miles Griffith of his short-lived lead. And down behind number 66, really enjoying the battling, that's Sid Hall. He's been there, he's done that, and he's got a Ferrari right on his tail.
Yeah, Ferrari with a 12-cylinder engine in the back of it, 1.5 litre 12-cylinder, and Miles Griffiths pops out of the slipstream. The two Lotus BRM 24s, wheel to wheel, side by side, down towards Goodwood Corner. Miles Griffiths trying to get through on the inside, but Martin Stretton is having nothing of it. He's going to he's on the grass on the outside, and Miles Griffiths tucks back inside. Is he going to get the position to go into the chicane? He does, and Stretton has to back off and get out of the way as Griffiths sweeps through into the lead. Griffiths then, Stretton, and then Fennell, James King, Richard Atwood in behind. Then it's Andrew Beaumont. Behind Andrew Beaumont, it looks like the first of the four-cylinder cars is Dan Collins.
I was about to say, the lead two are going to compromise themselves and help Nick Fennell, and certainly our race leader, fleetingly, Martin Stretton, did just that. Now he's fighting back on Griffiths. They couldn't get any closer as they accelerate flat out all the way down to Fordwater. Stretton gets his nose ahead. Griffiths is going to stay on the wide line as they go down the dip, and Fennell is catching the two of them in his dark blue helmet. And equally behind, James King is not dropping away. The first four very close. In fact, the first six almost nose to tail as they come to St Mary's.
In the pits, Rob Slamplow with the Formula 2 Lola, period racer here at Goodwood, but it's Stretton who leads in number 10. Down the inside into a big lunge down the inside into Lavant, but he has to settle for a third place at the moment. Fennell and James King's with him, Kev.
And keep your eye on Richard Atwood in number 15. This is very much like how he ran the races before when he won all those races a few years ago. He used to let the younger guys go at it in the early laps and then gradually wind it up and start coming through. Now, whether he'll still have that level of pace will be interesting to find out, but he's hovering there ominously, letting all this happen. But of course he doesn't want to let Martin Stretton get too far away.
Yeah, and he's got Andrew Beaumont right on his tail, number 4, the pale green car, but up front looking as though Martin Stretton is making good his escape. And when Griffiths was being attacked down at Lavant by Fennell, that let our race leader just break that little bit clear. And as you can see on the start-finish line, an advantage for number 10, Lotus, just under half a second, but he's not getting away yet.
And Richard Atwood sets the fastest lap of the race so far, so that was good timing, wasn't it?
Beaumont the fastest sector 1, Stretton the fastest in sector 2, Griffiths in sector 3, but overall it's Atwood.
Yeah, and then Beaumont must have been slow at the end of the lap. He's dropped off the tail of the group in 6th place for number 4. You see the pale green number 4 in the background, Unity Laystall colours standing out so well. But now Martin Stretton just eking his way clear, and I think the story is going to be Fennell in number 29 attacking Miles Griffith.
Another Formula 2 car in trouble is number 7, Patrick Jamin. He's in the pits. And I suspect the Francois might be down here as well.
James King starting to look quite handy in 4th place, getting onto the tail of Nick Fennell. Fennell spent the last lap and a half trying to get equal with Miles Griffith. Looks like Griffith has got his measure now. James King coming to the fore.
Yeah, James King, 22. He's been racing for 50 years, unbelievably. And he watched Dan Gurney win the French Grand Prix in this car and has owned it for many, many years.
And he drives it well too, doesn't he, Marcus? And he's they're probably worth mentioning that the top 4 qualified within 6/10. James King wasn't one of those, but he looks like he's got better race pace at this stage at least.
It's always best to do your racing in the race, these guys find. Look at Griffiths and Fennell looking pretty racy as well.
First to fifth, 2.1 seconds back to Atwood from the race leader. This is very, very tight indeed. Even tighter further back, the second cluster led by number 11, Michel Wanty, down towards the back of the field. Sam Wilson has got his way clear of that bunch.
Yeah, tucked in behind is the 27 car, which is Malcolm Cook in the Formula 2, the 1-litre Formula 2 Brabham, going really well. Behind him is the Derrington Francis ATS. Carlo Kitty designed engine, and running really wide and maximising his exit speed from down the inside comes Nick Fennell. He takes second place from Miles Griffiths, and Griffiths gets him back midway through. Fennell went in a bit deep as a result. This is a fabulous battle.
Isn't it just? And it was a very good early part of the lap from Nick Fennell, but what we're seeing now is we talked about whether time was being marked by Richard Attwood, but he is now falling away. The first four are setting such a pace. The BRM number 15 is dropping off the tail. Richard Attwood, we've mentioned before, tends to come good later in the race, but he's really going to have to come good. The front four super quick today.
Yes, he doesn't want to give himself too much work to do, does he? But the man who really looks aggressive is Fennell. He's wanted to win this race, missed out so many times, but he can see Martin Stretton just edging away. The lead now up to 1 second, so it's not insurmountable, but he needs to get through into second sooner rather than later.
But personal best for Stretton that time.
But every lap that Nick Fennell really puts the pressure on Miles Griffith, it helps our race leader Martin Stretton, as you said, 1.021 seconds clear on the start-finish line. If Griffiths didn't have Fennell diving here, diving there, trying to push and probe to get into second place, I'm sure he could start catching up with Martin Stretton. But right now, again, another attack as they come down towards me at St Mary's. You've got the green and yellow Lotus, number 29 in third place. Doesn't want to stay in third, getting closer, quicker exit line out of St Mary's. Won't be close enough to make a move at St Mary's. Lavin, which guarantees, of course he'll try. He'll dive for the inside. Doesn't disappoint, up the inside. And he makes it
again. Very tight, but this time he does squeeze through. And Nick Fennell, the former All-China motorcycle racing champion, has snuck through into second place there. Third is Miles Griffiths. Behind Griffiths is James King. Those three cars battling, but Stretton making his escape up front at the moment. Can Fennell do anything to gather him back in?
Well, you sort of feel that the person who's most likely to lead the chase of Stretton ought to be not Miles Griffiths, sorry, Nick Fennell, who's just got through. Let's see if he can do so. With that move, he carried 29, carried so much more speed. Fennell through the exit of St Mary's, and he was able to use it. Last time he tried it, he got past, ran too deep into Lavins, and Miles Griffiths tucked around it. This time, much better for Fennell, up into second.
Well, it was a 1.4 second gap, but he did Fennell did the fastest final sector of the whole race so far, immediately after getting into second place. So now we'll really see whether he can catch Stretton, and I wouldn't mind betting he might actually pull along the next two as well. If they can stay in his toe, we might actually close up the leaders again.
Yeah, but Griffiths has immediately got pressure on his tail. James King fancies getting into the top three in that Brabham, number 22. You can see them on the screen, drifting wide into St Mary's. Not quite so close this time for James King, so a good run through Ford Water for Miles Griffith in the white Lotus. Now he's coming up the rise into Lavin. This time doesn't have to protect the inside line because James King not quite close enough to make a move in that glorious metallic green and gold Australian racing livery. Brabham, number 22.
Yeah, you want to be tucked into the slipstream down the long Lavin straight, that's for sure. Here's some tussling down the back. Number 2 there is Chris Milner. He's driving the Lotus 24 that's dressed as a Lola Mark 4. It was bodied as a Lola Mark 4 by the Parnell team in period. Rob Hall's raced it here in previous seasons. You've got the 2 Sirocco BRMs running together as well down there, and also Andrew Waring in his BRM.
Colasacco in the Ferraris found some pace. He was almost as quick as the leaders the last time through. On this lap, he set 2 bests, the first 2 sets, and the quickest of the whole race. So I wonder if he's found some extra speed in that Ferrari, getting it wound up like he did with Stangalini earlier today.
The best of the 4-cylinder cars is Dan Collins in 21 in this Islands car, the first Team Lotus Grand Prix winner, the American Grand Prix in 1961 with Innis Ireland.
King's getting closer again. That battle for third place right onto Miles Griffiths. Griffiths looking at his mirrors, seeing what he can see, but what he can see, unfortunately for him, is an awful lot of Brabham. Not so much when it tucks right in behind, but when it nips out to one side, gets out of his blind spot, he can pick it up, but he doesn't need to look anymore. He knows full well as they come into St Mary's that the Brabham is getting closer and closer, and in turn Nick Fennell is pulling clear of him in second place. Now there's a gap. Fennell, is he closing in on our race leader this lap on Martin Stretton? He set his fastest opening sector of that. He could be. Change of position there. King
learned well from Fennell, but of course Griffiths again tried to tuck back in. I thought Griffiths' car looked a little whiff of smoke came out of the back of it. But I'm impressed with that Colasacco time, a 1:24.164, fastest lap of the race to number 18, the American.
Yes, Fennell actually went across the line and set a new fastest lap, but almost it was immediately taken away by the Ferrari. It was 3/4 of a second lap faster, so he could bring himself. He's got a long way to go to get to the leaders, but he can certainly make some space.
Here's a replay. Race leader Martin Stretton couldn't get any wider without spinning his outside wheels on the dirt at St Mary's. That will have encouraged Nick Fennell to get a bit closer. And then the overtake from James King. I think just as Miles Griffiths was considering what was going on ahead of him, James King, brilliant exit from St Mary's and did just enough to stay in third position.
And Colasaco's got past Beaumont and he's right on Richard Atwood's tail. So big up Atwood is that he would have more pace. But it's actually the Ferrari that's getting quicker and quicker. And I think he'll be challenging for fifth probably by the time he gets down to you, Bruce.
Well, let's wait and see. Atwood in the BRM being chased so hard by Colasaco in his Ferrari. Waiting for that grouping. The first four coming past me. No overtaking this time. They're holding station. Turn to my right. I can see the BRM next into St Mary's, but I would say just under a second behind is Joe Colasaco. He's on a charge. No, he's not. He's going backwards. He's rotating across the grass at St Mary's. Just kissed the white line. He's got going again. The waved yellow flag can be put away. Oh dear, you made me give him the curse.
Yeah, that's two for me now. Perhaps I should stop picking people up.
Well, now Nick Fennell faces his sternest test, trying to get past the past master, Martin Stretton. Pretty much nothing between them, nor is there between James King in 22 and Miles Griffiths in 37. Here they come. Griffiths looking for that, angling for that better exit from the chicane.
So
half a second.
I was just about to say 8.5 minutes to go. Half a second to be gained by Nick Fennell. What did he pick up that time? 0.15 of a second. He's going to keep chipping away. Catching Martin Stretton, one thing, hard enough in its own right. Getting past is going to be something extra special for Nick Fennell to try.
Yeah, Beaumont in number 4 cut up into 6th place now as a result of Colasaco's spin. Here's Sid Houle, ex-Joe Bonnier, Cooper T66, and on his tail is Dan Collins. Dan Collins with that famous Lotus 21. Tony Best's Lotus 21, incidentally, is the rebuild of the car that Jimmy Clark drove at Monza. There's one of the Paul Woolley in the Sirocco spun. Where is that? Is that at Lavant?
Looks like Lavant, yep. Yeah, you can see the caravan park on the other side of the road. Oh, waiting for signalling as to when he can get going. You might as well go now.
That was all very tight, wasn't it?
Wasn't it just?
And that was some of the quicker guys coming through. I think some of the leaders went through. Griffiths was certainly...
I think it was Richard Atwood actually had to take to the grass to avoid him.
Well, talking of taking to the grass, we've just had Sid Houle go over the grass.
Beaumont's ahead of King, so there's been a problem somewhere out of our sight, and Colasaco's with him. King's had a spin somewhere, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think there might be some oil down at the back, because we just had, in that chasing group, we had Sid Houle go off, very gently, but time lost, so...
Yeah, King's coming back at Beaumont. There used to be squeezed up onto the curb, but there was nowhere to go. Beaumont was just minding his own lines where the gravity took him. Fennell leads. Stretton is in 2nd place. So all change on lap 9. Fennell leads by half a second now. Stretton, number 10, is 2nd. Griffiths is 3rd. Atwood is up into 4th. Beaumont is 5th. King is 6th. And Colasaco, after his spin, is 7th. The Ferrari looks like it's dropping liquid, and there goes the Sirocco. That was where Paul Woolley went off. He was behind Andrew Waring, and another car also in that pair was... I'm going to pick it out. That's the other Sirocco who's just gone around the outside. Cars built by Emerson in Surrey. But we're still not sure what happened to James King.
No, but also Miles Griffiths, his lap time was about 4 seconds off his best that time,
yes.
And he was delayed as well. But now Stretton coming back at Nick Fennell. We're into the final 6 minutes of this race, diving up the inside. Well, he's made the move so early that Nick Fennell had no option but to accommodate him. And again, Stretton runs that little bit wide, but back into the lead of the race.
Yep, that was pure experience. This is an interesting battle. It's a BRM V8 against the Coventry Climax V8. Through they go, and up into Madgwick. This time Nick Fennell looks up to the inside. Not quite close enough. Popping over that little bump in the road that keeps the cars and makes them go a little bit light.
By doing what Fennell did, you run the risk of compromising your own exit. Yes, he slightly unsettled Martin Stretton, but in fact unsettled himself the more, and therefore he's fallen, some 3 car lengths back, fighting back as they come down towards me, down to St Mary's in this glorious afternoon sunshine at the Goodwood Revival.
Personal best for Stretton last time round, and Fennell's doing really well to hang on. Into the pits has come Max Colasacco, isn't it? In the 18 Ferrari. Was losing oil, I think, and he's in.
Miles Griffith sounding a little bit ropey, the number 37 Lotus BRM. That could be why he's slowing a couple of... no, in fact, his last lap, not so bad, but it just sounded a little bit broken, that engine note.
Leaders coming up to the BRM of Andrew Waring. He's mayor of his little town up in Lancashire, I think, at the moment.
All Stratton's caught him in an awkward place there, but he's going to get through before the chicane. Will Fennell be able to follow him through? Yes, he does.
Yes.
He did well to get out of the way there,
Waring
didn't he?
was really staring in his mirrors, so well done, Andrew Waring. And now a better exit speed from the chicane, jinking to the left as they go down towards Madgwick. You don't always want the outer line, but how much help will Fennell be given by Stretton? Enough is the answer to that. So right, 4 minutes on the clock. What can Martin Stretton do? He's been behind before. He's got back in front for Fennell. That is carrying momentum markers at
That
Madgwick.
was superb at Madgwick. Nick Fennell going away from Martin Stretton. Let's see what happened earlier on. And this is Martin Stretton. Yes, he went wide there, and Fennell came underneath him. But there's a car ahead of them. Great save from Martin Stretton.
Well, it's rather like in the TT celebration when we had our race leader going wide down at that same corner at Woodcote. And that was, of course, Gordon Shedden. He fought his way back to the front and was the winner come the end of the race. Will the same story happen for Martin Stretton?
Fennell's making his bid for freedom, isn't he? Because he's put in the fastest first sector of anyone at any point in the race, and this is the move to break Stretton's challenge, and he has got a bit of a gap as they come down to Woodcote with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 more laps. I would think maybe they might just sneak third, mightn't they? Goes inside, one car up into the chicane. He's got the number 2 car of Chris Milner ahead of him. That's not going to be a problem at the chicane, but up at Madgwick, he's going to dive up the inside of Milner. Yes, fastest lap to Fennell.
1.8 seconds is the gap between first and second. It's starting to look very good for Nick Fennell getting his first win. Miles Griffith dropping back that little bit. A very good last lap for him, quicker than the first two. Well, as quick as second place anyhow.
Yes, he's 9 seconds now behind Martin Stretton. Miles Griffiths in third place. Richard Atwood, period a 6.2 seconds behind him. Le Mans winner, Goodwood winner is Dave. Monaco Formula Junior winner too.
Big gaggle of cars up ahead of our race-leading duo. We've got Nick Fennell leading Martin Stretton by 1.8 seconds on the start-finish line. But the gaggle of cars in front, the back markers it could work either way. It could stretch it or shrink it. But right now, Nick Fennell is picked off the Ford France livery bright blue car, and he's now got to just keep picking his way past that slower traffic. And
there are lots of them. He's gone past Malcolm Cook, and he's catching the LDS, the Doug Serurier-built car from South Africa, which is driven by Andy Hibbard,
who was waving like mad, saying go that way, fully aware. Of course, he's a front runner in many races. He appreciates
he's got
need.
Michel Wanty there, and Michel will be quite difficult, I suspect, to get past. That was very, very close. I don't think Wanty had seen him. And that's going to bring Stretton back up a little bit closer with a minute and 25 or so to go.
Oh, they could squeak one more lap beyond this one by a fraction of a second.
Now, Nick Fennell, if he had a watch in the car, would be thinking to himself, oh, what would Jack Brabham have done here? Win at the slowest possible speed and save yourself a lap. Well, but Stretton's right with him.
He won't have a chance to look at any watch on his arm because Stretton, as you say, Marcus, to within 2 car lengths, carrying more momentum through Ford Water, down the dirt, diving for the inside. This is what Stretton does, the first opportunity to make a lunge. He goes for it. Didn't work on the way in. Nick Fennell running a little bit wide, the entrance to Mary's. Who's got better grip on the exit? Who's got any grip? Oh, Fennell right out to the edge. And don't forget that Stretton made a slight mistake earlier there on the opening lap of the race. No such mistake this time. Down into Lavant. 40 seconds on the clock. Yeah. What's going to come out first? Who's going to get to the line first?
Remember that Stretton is so good on the brakes, and he's right on the gearbox of the leading Lotus 25 coming here. The Lotus 24 space frame car outside the monocoque car and gets the other side. Now Stretton looks the outside, the inside. He sails the dummy, but Fennell was equal to it at that point. But look at that. Stretton sailed through on the inside, and Is he going to keep it? I think he is, you know. 13, 12 seconds to go. 11, 10.
I think it is going to be the last lap, isn't it? He's done it. Oh, he's going to be very, very
But
close.
he can't afford to back off too much, otherwise. Oh, judged to the half second. Well, the checker flag didn't come out. They've got to carry on racing. Nick Fennell has taken the lead. There was a hesitation. Was Martin Stretton waiting to see the checkered flag? Did he have a little digital paddle on his cockpit? He's got to do it all over again.
Well, that was absolutely unbelievable. Griffiths is now 13 seconds behind them, and Fennell has that lead again going up towards Madgwick. Surely his best bet is to stick down the right-hand side going into Woodcote and try and make Martin Stretton go around the outside of him. Oh, Stretton's on the grass! Massive, massive moment for Martin Stretton, and he's got back on. He's going to keep second place, isn't it? Never seen a car yump quite like that, not a Formula One car anyway.
That was a buckaroo moment, certainly, and he tossed off all the pannier bags and back into the race. So we thought he'd done it to perfection, just taken the lead with 2 corners to go and backed off just in time to receive the checkered flag by half a second. It didn't come out. Nick Fennell's taken the lead, and now that moment, didn't see it happen behind my timing screens at St Mary, but that was a huge kick up of the tail for Martin Stretton, and Nick Fennell sitting now on a very tidy lead. When they crossed the start-finish line last time around, he was 0.021 of a second
just
behind.
Unbelievable. I think that that Martin Stretton thought it was all over, and it is now, because Nick Fennell's come through and is going to take the checkered flag this time. And there it is, the checkered flag goes out to Nick Fennell. He finally achieves his ambition of winning this race, the Glover Trophy, a 6th successive victory for the Classic Team Lotus team.
Back.
Well,
how did he miss
the Ferrari?
Missed the Ferrari. That was a heart-in-mouth moment, not just for Richard Mines, but also for Joe Bamford as he saw it getting closer and closer.